supply chainers, wherever you are in the world. This is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey with you today. Are you ready? Let's talk supply chain. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Thoughts and Coffee. We are live on my personal LinkedIn page, which I'm super excited about because that hasn't worked out very well for the last couple of shows. My name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey. I am the founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain, as well as the Blended podcast, and now also our nonprofit called the Blended Pledge. And you just saw and heard from Fastenal and what they're doing in supply chain. And we couldn't do this show without our sponsors. And so our other sponsor is Emerge, and they are proud to partner with Thoughts and Coffee to elevate our combined focus on empowering and growing meaningful relationships in the freight industry. The first and only freight-specific RFP platform, Emerge is reinventing freight procurement by offering solutions that enhance the spot and contract procurement process, enabling shippers to make the most strategic decisions possible, saving invaluable time and enhancing productivity. Learn more at emergemarket.com/thoughts and coffee. All right, we've got a lot to get into today. I'm super excited to be here with you. Audrey, unfortunately, got pulled into a meeting, so we've got a special guest that I will reveal in just a few minutes, but we are going to have a lot of fun. So let's dive in. What is happening at Let's Talk Supply Chain? So we've got a brand new episode out yesterday. It's episode 274, wherever you subscribe to Let's Talk Supply Chain, or on our website, letstalksupplychain.com. Now, this one is about AI, and I am speaking to Argo AI about what exactly they are doing. And we're talking about reimagining the human journey with AI. We talk all about safety. I know that when we think about artificial intelligence, a lot of us really go to the safety aspect around, autonomous vehicles and what does that look like and how do we share the road and how do we share, our spaces with AI and how safe is that for us as human beings. And we talked a lot about that because they put a really, really big focus in on safety. So I really implore you to go and check out this episode because they are talking about all about what they're doing, their forward-thinking transport technology in AI, and you're going to want to learn more about what they're doing because they're definitely going to be able to help you in your business. All right, what is next? Well, we've got our upcoming events. Now, we just did a survey. I don't know if you guys participated in this survey, but we love getting feedback from you. So if you haven't participated in the survey, I will get AJ to add that link in a little bit later on my personal page. I'll do the same as well so you guys can participate. We got some really great information that we're going to start to implement across our social media. One of them is the events and not talking about them at the top of this show. So I'll be making some adjustments for next week. But we have Imagine coming up. If you missed last week's episode of Thoughts and Coffee with Laura Ciceri, you're going to want to go and check that out because we are rethinking. We are unlearning everything we know about supply chain and relearning what we need to know for the future at Imagine, September 6th to 8th. If you have not registered, go and register. I'm going to be hosting the digital side. So whether you're in person or online, we'll be able to see you. We've also got Manifest coming up, and I'm going to be doing some podcasting on site, and that happens in January. Last January's event was awesome, and I can't wait for this one as well. And then we've got action items with DC's Fragola that happens every second Friday. LogTech Live is happening this Friday, which is Canada Day for me, which is supposed to be a day off, but Since Eric Johnson is on vacation, I said that I would host it. So I'll be hosting that Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern alongside my good friend Brian Glick from chain.io. And then, of course, we've got Intelligent Automation Week over in Chicago, July 27th to 29th. Go and check that out. No bullshipping with Hope White happens every fourth Friday. First things first, every second Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern with Rob from Mercado. Coming in hot with Abby Baird. I was on that show last week and it was so much fun. So that is it for our events. What else do we have right now? Oh, I want to let you guys know that I have been featured as 10 most admired women leaders in business to follow 2022. And thank you so much to Success Pictures for having me in this lineup. Super excited for that. And thank you to everybody who commented on this post. It's a really exciting time for me. Love that. Plus, I don't know if you guys know, but I have been on the board of directors for FIT, the Forum for International Trade Training, for I think almost 10 years now. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization focused on, exporting, and there's lots of great workshops. They are celebrating 30 years, and Audrey is a fellow CITP alongside with me. And this is their origin story video. Go and check it out on my profile. Audrey is part of this video and she does an amazing job. So really just wanted to point that out and let you know. And then of course we've got TikTok. This is one of my favorites that Abby has done. So she's talking about how she put together a supply chain plan, me creating an intricate cross-functional strategy so we hit our target KPIs. And then she's dancing and celebrating because she did that, and we love that. So if you haven't checked out our TikTok, go to Let's Talk Supply Chain over on TikTok. Abby does an amazing job over there as well. What else do we have? Oh, and then we've got Stephanie Schrader. Just wanted to share with you guys. She purchased our Keep Calm and Supply Chain On shirt and posted that the other day, and we love it on her. So just wanted to share that with you as well. And so I think that's about it for right now. We are going to be announcing our follower of the month very soon, and you can choose between I like to move it, and our Let's Talk Supply Chain mug as well. So we'll be announcing that, I think, the end of this week probably, and we'll be letting you know who that is next week on Thoughts and Coffee. All right, so now it's time to bring up our special guest. And hello, AJ. How you doing?
I love how everyone, it's someone special. It's like, oh no, it's just the guy behind the curtain that does all the social media for Let's Talk Supply Chain.
It's not the guy behind the curtain. I mean, you're amazing, AJ, and we want the world to know about you. And of course, you've been in supply chain for quite a long time and working alongside us at Let's Talk Supply Chain. So you have a ton to contribute, plus a little bit of an outsider's view. And we want to know what that looks like being in supply chain every single day. We kind of get tunnel vision. So we definitely want to know. So tell everybody who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into the poll.
Absolutely. So, hey, everyone, my name's AJ. For those of you that are new to Let's Talk Supply Chain, I'm in charge of all the social media here. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. One of my favorite parts of Let's Talk Supply Chain is every Wednesday picking the poll. That I get so much joy out of is like, okay, what should we ask this week? What kind of controversial questions? And we're going to get into the poll here soon. Outside of Let's Talk Supply Chain, I'm the Director of Customer Success for FTP Today, which is a secure file transfer protocol. So just sharing sensitive data between people securely. And I've been with them for almost a year. And what's funny, Sarah, is I've been with Let's Talk Supply Chain for 3 years? If I think about it,
more than that. Maybe more than that. 3 or 4 years. Yeah. 3 years. Okay. Yeah. 3 years.
3 years, because we met TPM 2019 in Long Beach.
Yeah.
And gosh, to another 3 years with Let's Talk Supply Chain.
Let's do it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Just want to give a shout out to Joe over on my personal. Thank you so much. He says congrats and well deserved on the recognition that I just got. Thank you so much. So we're going to go into the poll, but I have one question for you, and I think some of our community probably wonders the same. How do you come up with these questions?
So it's a couple of things. One, I like to do some research, but two, it's finding on LinkedIn other polls that people are doing. This one, as everyone knows, I love traveling. I actually do a poll on my personal Instagram page of where's AJ traveling to, and I always love to see it's either Iowa, where I'm from, or Arizona, where my wife is from. So we go back to there. But I was just thinking, like, I'm on this plane. Where do people like to sit? Window, middle. I was just showed up here. I'm more of a window guy. I absolutely love, as everyone in the comments has said, like looking out the window. And the only problem is if you're sitting in the window, if you have to go to the bathroom, or you want your peanuts or pretzels, or you have to reach over and get it. But I typically stay in my seat the whole plane ride.
Well, and we've had some questions about the polls. They're not all about supply chain, but when we did a survey of the community, they really wanted to see other things than just supply. We put out so much supply chain content that people just want to have a little bit of fun, and so we like to have a little bit of fun with you every single Wednesday morning. And so this particular poll, this question: what seat are you taking on a plane? So 57% of you said window, 42% of you said aisle, and 1% of you said middle. And that's 1,055 votes. And we still have a week left. Now, the comments that we had on this were really funny because they were like, who is the 1% that picked middle? Because nobody picks middle on purpose. And so for me, I like to pick the window. But you're right. If I'm traveling on my own, I've got to ask two people to move, or like time it properly, like when they're not sleeping, because I don't want to tap them on the shoulder while they're sleeping and be that person. So I really like the window. A lot of people do like the aisle though, and my husband is one of those. So anyways, really enjoyed this poll.
I'll only pick the aisle if I have like a short connection where I'm like, I have to get up. But I've learned with traveling, it doesn't matter how quickly you get up, because you still have to, deplane. And if you're at the back of the plane, it's always funny to like see people standing up and like waiting and waiting. I'm like, I'm just going to sit down until the whole plane deboards. So
no, that's not me. But anyways, so Nick Moreau in the comments says, who's picking middle, ? I'd be shocked if it gets one vote. And we went back to him and said, so far we have 8 votes for the middle seat. And Linda says, haha, I'm the one picking middle. My husband is a bit claustrophobic, so he needs the aisle and I want to sit next to him. That's nice. Claudine says, none. They canceled my flight twice. So
no.
I am traveling quite a bit in August and September for a variety of different things.
Yep.
And this terrifies me because I need my flights to go on time. Audrey says window seat. She says the middle is overwhelming. She's a nervous traveler. And Dan says, as a private pilot, I'll take the left front, please. Okay. All right. Well, that was nice. Anyways, we had a lot of really, really great comments. So you should go and check it out. AJ will put the link to this particular post. Yep. So that you can go and check it out and maybe be part of the poll of the week this week. Sorry, you were saying.
Well, I was also going to say, if anyone has like a poll that you want us to run, reach out to us, listener@letstalksupplychain.com. We love getting requests of we want to know more about this, or fun. We love fun polls. I think one that I'm not sure that I want to do, but I'm tempted, is ravioli a Pop-Tart.
Dude, I think we already did that one.
But think about it.
Anyways, I think it was kind of popular. I gave you one the other day. I can't remember what it was, so maybe you'll do that one.
I'll look back. We have a few good ones coming up here that I'm pretty excited to share with everyone. Some supply chain ones, some not. I think the one that is the most memorable was, I think at the beginning of the year, or maybe it was last summer, where it was, what's the most you've seen for a container from Asia to North America?
Yeah, the amount. And actually, we should probably do that poll again, because they're saying that some of the rates are coming down, but the people that I'm talking to are like, not really. The rates are still kind of high. So I don't know about that, but maybe we should ask that one again. I really like the reaction one where we're asking everybody where they're from. And it looks like Audrey was able to join us. So AJ.
Yeah, I'll go back to the corner.
To stay.
No. This is the Audrey and Sarah show. I'm just the guy in the back. So everyone, with further ado,
Without further
it's
ado.
Audrey Ross.
All right, let's bring her up. Yay! Audrey,
Hi.
hello. How are you?
Hi. Oh, my background's such a mess. I'm good. I'm good,
So glad you could join us today. We have some fun topics to talk about, and you're right on time because we're
good.
just about to dive into the articles.
Yay. So I'm coming in from Toronto. I'm an import and export compliance manager here at Orchard Custom Beauty. We specialize in beauty tools, cosmetics, and bath accessories. And I was just on a call trying to solve a sort of European VAT issue and some transportation flaws that I'm having. So yeah, business.
Well, hashtag supply chain issues. I think I probably should have worn our shirt that said hashtag supply chain issues. Matters in supply chain, because you were coming on and I knew you were trying to solve the world's challenges.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is fun. Let's get into the first article. So our first article is about the wedding party economics. Now, you might be wondering, what do weddings in 2022 have to do with supply chain? Well, if you scroll down in this article, they actually say that the rising costs for a wedding party is due to supply chain issues. One is rising fuel prices, two is inflation, which kind of was caused by ocean freight rates and a little bit of everything else. And then obviously supply chain issues, which has led to limited inventory for wedding attire, which is complicating matters further. And so they're actually saying that 2.9 million, I think, weddings are going to happen this year versus a 2.2 million in a regular year or a sort of a pre-pandemic year. And so everything's kind of up. Everybody is vying for that space for their wedding. The prices are up for their wedding parties, and it's because of supply chain issues. So what do you think about this? I've got a story that I'll tell you after I hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think every industry is going to be affected, and weddings already were the kind of thing where it's like, if you were having a party, it'd be one price, but as soon as you say you're having a wedding, it's a 30% higher price. Somehow the cake is just more expensive when it's for a wedding than just to eat a cake. So it's an interesting, and it's a big industry, and it's an interesting one. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they're seeing the effect. I think people don't realize. I didn't realize when I was, a little bridesmaid and with my friends, that most dresses that you're trying on in the store, you're actually trying on samples, and a lot of them are ordered from manufacturers all over the place. So like really, when you're ordering those wedding dresses, it's going to take like 3 months. You're like, yeah, because it's like produced in sort of a manufacturing warehouse. But
yeah, and being manufactured overseas, and with the costs of the ocean freight rates and all the shutdowns and things like that, I'm sure they have a ton of back orders. I think some of these weddings though have been postponed since sort of like during the pandemic. So hopefully, they've taken the 2 years to try to get everything that they need and not sort of left it till the last minute, because obviously being in supply chain, we know that that is the wrong thing to do right now. So I actually, so AJ got married about a month or so ago. And so I went on their registry and got hit with supply chain issues. Because one of the things on their registry was electric toothbrush. And they had two of them, right? One for each of them. And I was like, this is perfect. I'll get the electric toothbrush. And they only had one in stock because hashtag supply chain issues. And so I ended up having to get something else. I can't remember what I got. I think it was like an air purifier or something like that. But I really wanted to get the two toothbrushes, but because of supply chain issues, I could not. I know. So just so everybody knows, if you do get asked to be in a wedding party and you're in supply chain, it kind of is your duty to just let them know that we have lots of supply chain issues, and they really need to be on the ball when they're ordering their dresses, bridesmaid dresses, anything that would come over from overseas. They really need to get it ASAP. And so if you don't do that, I think that's really just our responsibility as supply chain people and being in the middle of all this. But even if you say no, because a lot of the costs, right? Like 40% of people in this article said that they regret spending. 20% of people actually say no. Even if you say no, you still have a responsibility as a supply chain professional to let them know what is going on. It's one thing to say no and then not say anything about supply chain
Yeah.
ideas. It's another thing to say no and then make sure that they know everything that's happening and what could happen.
If you haven't linked them to Let's Talk Supply Chain TikTok so that they can see what the issues are you really a good friend?
Anyways, good luck to anybody who's in a wedding this week or this year, because I don't think it's just one. I think it might be 2 and 3, and the costs are going up. Anyways, have a good time regardless. All right, so our second article is about Walmart and Target. So you've heard us talk about how there's been shortages across industries, right? And we're going to talk about another shortage in our last article of today. But this one is talking about a surplus of inventory. So Walmart and Target have an excess supply of inventory. And so they've just had their quarterly calls, I think, with their board of directors and things like that. And they're sort of like, what do we do with all of this stuff? So we had shortages, we overbought, and now we have way too much stuff, which is really crazy because I'm still going into the stores and seeing some empty shelves. And now these guys are saying we've got too much inventory and we have to put it on sale. So
Yeah.
what are you seeing? Like when you go into the grocery store, if you're going into Walmart or Target, what are you seeing? Are you hearing about excess inventory now, or are we kind of in this weird bubble of shortages over here and excess over here?
I think it depends on who their supplier is. Because I think these are stores that buy from, they have their own in-house connections, or they're sort of their own, maybe private label, which is some of what we do. Then they have their in-house brands who they have different control over, and then they have suppliers who they're buying from, right? So the people that they're bringing in may be a brand name, like maybe, I don't know, like if the Heinz is having trouble getting you ketchup or barbecue sauce, then that's not something that the retailer can control. So I think we're still seeing shortages on certain brands, or these certain names that maybe aren't there. But yeah, they overordered on stuff that they can control. Now I think Target is coming out and it's this sort of sob story about it. I don't know that I've seen Walmart complain that much, and there's been a couple of people sort of in the industry suggest that Walmart was using that as a tactic, maybe to be able to maintain their sort of status, and see that other smaller businesses wouldn't be able to keep up because Walmart has the investment or wealth to manage some of these dips and excess better than anyone else. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But Target's in a position where it's like, do we put snowblowers out in July because we have 600 of them sitting in a warehouse? So, and I don't know, I think it says a lot too about who's marketing and who's branding and who's, when you see these things play out in the news, or like we're actually getting to hear about it, you're like, what's your PR plan here for consumer confidence, or for, like it just, I don't know.
Well, I think it presents some good news, right? In a slew of sort of bad news. We've had a lot of bad news lately.
Yeah.
And I think the good news is that even though there's inflation and things are costing more, these two retailers have overbought, which means sales, sales, sales. We're going to save some money on some of this product that they've overbought and have overstock of inventory, which, I mean, depending on what it is, like you said, snowblowers. I mean, snowblowers in July, you're going to get a sale on those anyways because it's not in season. But Target has said they're going to downsize their inventory, and they're going to use the data that they collect on consumer spending to really stock up on essential categories. Now, this is really interesting. We've been talking about data for a very long time. We've been talking about getting your data house in order. I don't think this is the first time that they've used data, but in order for them to keep their inventory in check, they're now going to use that data to really just buy the essentials and not overstock or overbuy. And, I mean, at the end of the day, we really needed to be using this data way before. But with the pandemic throwing everything into a loop, the data really hasn't been there to be able to make some of those decisions because everything's sort of been, it hasn't been constant.
No.
Right?
And they didn't take the opportunity. Like, we keep living in a culture, like the pandemic really for some of us was like a huge mental shift and a huge value shift maybe for us, and the consumers are or the retailers are still doing the same thing. They're picking what they want to buy, they're ordering too much of it, they're not utilizing feedback from the customer, they have multiple avenues of free social media to get feedback from their customers that they don't use, they have data on hand that they don't use, and then they overconsume. So now the concern is that as we are existing in a climate emergency, that you're overproducing on stuff that you're like, why did you even buy 500 lawn chairs if you don't know that like everybody bought lawn chairs over the last 2 years? So like there's such a massive disconnect in retail with what the consumer wants or needs and what they're doing that I just that no one's making the shift, and it's a little frustrating for
Well,
me
and
as
that's
we
why
watch this happen for like we've been on Thoughts and Coffee now, like almost like you're just like you watch article after article. Oh, we overproduced. No one's buying. No, there's really.
yeah. And that's why Laura's doing the Imagine conference this fall, talking about unlearning, because we really need to unlearn what we learned pre-pandemic and learn kind of the new shift in the way of looking at things and inventory and things like that. So anyways, really, really great thoughts. Now we have one more article here. And we're talking about Mexican pizza. So Audrey, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of Mexican pizza, but apparently it's
It's
a
a cult favorite item. And I'm like,
apparently it's the thing. I mean, I can't eat it anyways because I'm like gluten-free and
that's
dairy-free.
like 15 things that you can't eat in it.
So I mean, it was kind of. I mean, for me not to know about Mexican pizza, but you didn't. You had to look it up too. So it's
I'm
two
a
fried
foodie.
tortillas with ground beef, refried beans, pizza sauce, cheese, and tomatoes on top.
See,
That's a
that's
Mexican
delicious.
pizza.
How do I not know about this?
I know. And apparently, so what happened was this thing came out, I think, in 2020. And then they announced that it would come back on the menu, Taco Bell menu, on May 19th. And everybody went crazy.
Okay.
They had 7 times more the demand for Mexican pizza. Sorry, I just realized that you can't even see this thing. And I'm probably making everybody hungry right now.
Oh.
But they had 7 times more demand than they actually stocked supplies for. They had somebody, I think in Arizona, one ordered 180 Mexican pizzas. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Are you freezing
No,
them? You have
friends are having a
180
party.
people? Okay.
Mexican pizza party. That's what you're having.
And then one store in California sold 1,000 of these things in one day. Like
Yeah.
that's a massive amount of people. And honestly, they don't have the supplies, so they're an out of stock, and they're keeping everybody abreast on Twitter to let them know when they're going to have the supplies back in stock to make these Mexican pizzas.
Again, an area where you probably could have gauged feedback from your customers on social media by getting people to say how many you're going to order when you come in. This is like, okay, so I have a feeling this is because this is an American chain, so it might be sort of a regional American thing. And Canada has the same thing with McDonald's pizza. Back in the 90s, when millennials were children, McDonald's had a pizza. And every time they tease like, okay, we're going to launch something big in Canada, literally their social media is like, is it pizza? If it's not pizza, I don't care. And they haven't brought pizza back yet, but I swear if they brought pizza back, people would go and buy 100 McDonald's pizzas. So you can use these tools to gauge people's interest. If people are all over this, they're going to order 180 of them for themselves.
Well, and I think the point here, bringing it back to supply chain, is the fact that they have to go on Twitter and let everybody know that they don't have the supplies and that the supplies are going to take a while to get in to be able to make it a permanent part of their menu. Like,
Now,
if that's not
service issue.
if that's not hashtag supply chain issues, I don't know what is. And the monumental part of this is that they were going to do a Mexican Pizza, the musical, on TikTok, which included Dolly Parton, Doja Cat, and Victor Kunda of TikTok to be able to celebrate this Mexican pizza. And they sold out before they could do this musical, which means that they've now had to postpone this event on TikTok because they don't have the supplies to make the Mexican pizzas. And so they can't promote it on TikTok. Anyways, we are going to leave you with that thought. and the effect that hashtag supply chain issues are having on the consumer market. I mean, we are wreaking havoc with Mexican pizza and TikTok right now. And if that doesn't get your C-suite talking about supply chain, I don't know what else will. Anyways, that's it for us today. I am going to be back next week with Audrey again because she goes on vacation the week after. So we want to make sure we get all of Audrey for July. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. Audrey, thanks for making it. Thanks to AJ for coming on in the beginning. And we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.